By day, Sheng Hy controls everything. By night, he hides behind the name DaylightX. He believed no one could connect the two. Until someone started playing a game with him. A 1-month deadline. No mistakes allowed. And the closer Wen Suo stands, the harder it is for him to stay in control. Because this was never just blackmail. It was a trap designed for him. Late at night, Sheng Hy was still reading documents in the living room when his phone suddenly vibrated. On the other end, Xiaoxi's voice was so urgent it was almost panicked. The microwave was sparking because someone foolish had put a metal spoon inside. Before Sheng Hy could fully understand what was happening, he heard the dangerous crackling sound through the line. Xiaoxi immediately told him not to touch anything and to wait for him to get back. 3 minutes later, he rushed to the door, his expression tense. The door flew open, and the sharp smell of something burnt spilled out. Sheng Hy stood in the middle of the messy kitchen, looking like a child who had just done something wrong. He had only wanted to heat up some food because he was too hungry and too tired. 3 consecutive days of research had left him nearly exhausted. Xiaoxi scolded him while cleaning up, yet his eyes were filled entirely with worry. He explained seriously that metal should never be placed inside a microwave. Sheng Hy honestly admitted he had never really used these household appliances before. 10 minutes later, the kitchen was finally clean again. Xiaoxi pushed him out to the living room and told him to sit and wait. In the kitchen, he muttered to himself, wondering why he still had to take care of him like a nanny. Yet his hands skillfully prepared a bowl of hot noodles. When he carried it out, Xiaoxi found Sheng Hy already asleep on the sofa. His face tilted slightly from exhaustion, lashes trembling faintly under the light. Xiaoxi sighed softly and leaned down to wake him. Half asleep, Sheng Hy murmured a gentle name that should not exist between them. The distance between them suddenly became far too close. A fleeting brush of lips passed in the silence. Xiaoxi's heart pounded so loudly he could hear himself. He immediately pulled back, forcing himself to act indifferent. But in the darkness, someone whispered very softly that he had never once said he did not need the other. Sheng Hy returned home, and what should have been an ordinary dinner quietly turned into an unspoken interrogation. His half-brother watched him with a gaze that was far too gentle. He brought up the past, even mentioning relationships, as if testing Sheng Hy's reaction. But behind that concern lay a cold sense of control. He spoke about Sheng Hy's physical responses as though they were merely a psychological issue that needed correction. Sheng Hy felt a chill settle in his chest because the one who had arranged for that psychologist years ago had been him as well. Old memories surged back, the therapy sessions that had nearly stripped him of control over himself. Sheng Hy cut the conversation short, forcing himself to remain composed. The other man continued playing the role of the attentive older brother, as if nothing were unusual. Yet the way he looked at Sheng Hy carried a possessiveness that was difficult to hide. That night, alone in his room, Sheng Hy discovered a photograph that had been carefully concealed. It was a picture of him. And someone from his past. His heartbeat faltered. Who had kept this? His brother appeared behind him, smiling as though unaware of anything. He said he would sleep on the sofa, yet his eyes never truly left Sheng Hy. Sheng Hy walked away, but the unease clung to him. Elsewhere, Wen Suo looked down at the new employee badge in his hand. He smiled. Everything was unfolding exactly as planned. An anonymous message was sent to Vice President Sheng, reminding him of a deal left unfinished years ago. And at that very moment, Moonlight's phone vibrated. DaylightX's livestream room had been reported again. One evening, DaylightX's fan club suddenly erupted in chaos over rumors accusing the brand of sensitive content. In the shadows, someone stepped in and spent money to suppress the uproar without revealing their identity. Just a few hours later, insider information was released, skillfully shifting the entire narrative. Everything seemed to have been handled cleanly. But for Sheng Hy, it was only the beginning of another headache. That night, he dreamed again of a past filled with pressure and humiliation. Memories from his youth jolted him awake in a cold sweat. And then, an offer appeared. The other party did not want money. What he wanted was for Sheng Hy to withdraw from the one group. Otherwise, his most shameful secret would be exposed. Sheng Hy refused immediately. But the other side did not waver. Instead, he proposed a small game. A 1-month deadline. If Sheng Hy failed to follow the rules, DaylightX's true identity would be revealed in the lobby of the one group. The corporation's massive display screens suddenly flickered with static, like a silent warning.
Sheng Hy understood.
This was no joke. His phone vibrated again. This time, he was instructed to go down to the reception desk to pick up a package. The tone of the message was almost teasing. Make good use of what is inside. Sheng Hy tightened his grip on his phone. This was not merely a threat. This was a carefully calculated game. And he knew. The one behind it had to be connected to the one family. The morning at one group began with the usual whispers about the young vice president. Sheng Hy appeared calm as ever, though the atmosphere around him was noticeably colder than usual. A package had arrived for him early that day. The receptionist enthusiastically handed over the mysterious parcel. Sheng Hy thanked her, but a flicker of caution passed through his eyes. The murmurs behind his back did not fade. He carried the package into the restroom to inspect it in private. Inside was an item that made his expression change instantly. A familiar wave of discomfort quickly followed. In the stillness, even the faintest sound felt unsettlingly amplified. Sheng Hy forced himself to stay composed, telling himself he had to find the person behind this stunt. Yet his body betrayed him at the worst possible moment, which only deepened his frustration. Just then, Wsua appeared. Noticing his superior's unusual expression, Wsua stepped closer. The distance between them narrowed abruptly. Sheng Hy lost his balance and instinctively fell against Wsua. Their breaths mingled in the confined space for a fleeting second. Wsua reacted on instinct and caught him. The sudden embrace left them both momentarily stunned. Sheng Hy reacted at once, trying to push away. But his body refused to obey his reason. Wsua realized his body temperature was unusually high. Sheng Hy felt a surge of panic as he became fully aware of his condition. When their eyes met, the air between them turned heavy and difficult to define. Wsua held him steady to keep him from getting hurt. The closeness had already crossed the line between superior and subordinate. And Sheng Hy himself could not understand why the one who always made him lose control was Wsua. As the elevator doors slid shut, the distance between Sheng Hy and Wsua suddenly narrowed to a suffocating degree. In that fleeting moment of imbalance, Sheng Hy instinctively stepped back, but there was only the cold wall behind him. A sharp sound echoed as the elevator came to an abrupt stop. Wsua reacted instantly, pulling him into his arms to shield him from the impact. The lights flickered once, then went out entirely, plunging the space into darkness. In that darkness, their breaths tangled together too close to ignore. Sheng Hy tried to remain calm, but his body refused to obey his reason. Wsua did not let go immediately, as if deliberately prolonging that subtle contact. When the emergency light finally came on, Wsua stepped back, though his eyes never left Sheng Hy. Sheng Hy quickly regained his cold composure, issuing orders as though nothing had happened. But the elevator remained still, no signal, no rescue in sight. Their phones had completely lost reception, making the enclosed space even more stifling. Sweat seeped through his shirt as a wave of heat traveled down his spine. Sheng Hy clenched his teeth, trying to conceal the abnormal sensations rising within him. Wsua noticed, yet said nothing, simply watching with a calculating gaze. Sheng Hy ordered him to stand in front of the camera and not to turn around. Wsua complied, but the faint smile at the corner of his lips was anything but innocent. In the sealed space, even the smallest movement felt overly heightened. Wsua suddenly stepped closer, as if testing Sheng Hy's limits. Sheng Hy trembled slightly, partly from the loss of control, partly from realizing he was being drawn into the other man's game. And in that flickering darkness, Wsua whispered one thing: their game had only just begun.